Welcome to One, the mini podcast project. I'm your host, Anthony Cruz, and today is November 30th, 2017. I'm back again. How's everybody doing? I hope everyone's okay. I'm going straight audio this time. To be honest, I didn't feel like doing video, and that's my right, and I choose to have that right. And anybody who doesn't like me can go to hell. Yeah, no. I look like a hot mess right now. I didn't shave. I look like Chewbacca's unwanted cousin. But I am sitting here. I'm in the dwellings of my home. I have a nice glass of eggnog and Bacardi mixed in very nicely just to do this. So I am enthusiastic about doing this. And I don't know. There's a certain way of doing the podcast audio, especially when I'm going to talk about the things I'm going to talk about, it allows me some sort of anonymity. I can never say that goddamn word. Anonymity? Okay, so the problem with me saying words is that I have this heavy tongue. And the rest is at in the back of my head or in the bottom of my jaw or at the roof of my mouth. I don't know. But I always complain that I don't like my voice because it sounds like I'm muffing on pillows. But at the same token, like I get tongue-tied. So I'm going to say anonymous because anonymity just seems to escape me every time I try to say it. So yeah, doing it audio versus video, I know a lot of people prefer video. Because they get to see and watch me and do things and trust me, I'm gonna keep it in that format for the most part. But every once in a while, especially in topics like this, I think I just lend my voice because it's not so much about you seeing me say what I say, but just actually hearing me say what I say. And with that, I just couldn't help notice that the whirlwind of the news that's dominating the news just keeps going. Like the topic keeps coming up, and I would like to say that it's something cool like the Avengers trailer that dropped yesterday, which was like just epicness, man, all the way through it. But that's not what I'm talking about. Kind of wanted to get into the whole sexual harassment topic because it's so crazy what's been happening. It's like a snowball effect. You throw a snowball down the hill and then it starts to pick up more snow and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Well, that's exactly what's happening. Hollywood is like in chaos with all this all this sexual harassment claims. And what was it? In the past couple of days, I mean, we've gotten Matt Lauer, who was fired. We had Russell Simmons, who stepped down from his companies, and then and now Geraldo Rivera, which I'm gonna get back to that in a minute. But it was just this domino effect that just kind of snowballed out of control, and it's like. You have to ask yourself, this is not something that's happening now, right? You're thinking that maybe, this is all happening right now. That's a lot going on. No, what's happening is that this is stemming, X number of years or decade or 2 decades or 3 decades. I mean, this is going back to the late 70s, 80s, into the 90s and the 2000s. It is, just nearly a lifetime worth of this behavior. I mean, it's been happening since the dawn of time, but in the purpose of keeping it centralized to just Hollywood, it's been happening for quite a number of years. It is absolutely insane on the way these things are coming out to play. People are talking about it on Facebook and Twitter and all these other platforms, and everybody got an opinion about it. Some people are like, this is horrible, they should be crucified and all this stuff. And then you got the others that are just, you got others that are just like, Yeah. What else? And then you got others who are just sick and tired of hearing it. And I don't know where I land on that. I don't know if I land on I'm sick and tired of hearing it, or it's just like what else is new. I'm not at a frame of mind where I say, all right, let's just obliterate all these people out of the social norm and start over. I'm not there. Especially when you're dealing with something as sensitive as this, you got to tread lightly. I find myself in a state where I see it as a witch hunt. I see it as a witch. We're in a witch hunt in a turbulent time, and that's basically the best way I could put it, because it doesn't matter if you were like this 20 years ago, but then you saw the light of day and realized it wasn't supposed to be like that anymore. So you change your ways, and now you are you fly straight. Not to say that you're a good person, but you fly straight now, and you maybe regret the actions you might have taken at that time, but it doesn't matter, because now that we live in such a no tolerance sort of state, and I mean we're really no tolerance. You so much as hint out the fact that you did this, you are blackballed, and you can forget about getting a job for a very long time, if at all, in Hollywood. So, yeah, it didn't matter if you did it 20 years ago or yesterday. Your punishment is as equal as the guy who did it just, a few hours ago. And I say guys because that's the only thing that's happening. It's happening with men. It's absolutely crazy. And I try to poke fun at it because you can go serious all you want, but you can go serious all you want, but it just funks the mood. It really does. So I try to poke fun at it as much as I can. And my whole thing now is that being a guy now, man, it's you run the risk, man. I rather the only people who are safe right now are children and Nephilims. if you're a kid, or if you're like the half angel, half human, you might get a pass. Or was it hermaphrodite? Yeah, if you're a hermaphrodite, if you're like in between male and female, you might you might get a pass. Because it's so insane. Like, you got to think about it. The only person right now is probably just sighing a sigh of relief is Caitlyn Jenner, aka the artist formerly known as Bruce. Yeah, he's probably the one sighing a sigh of relief right now. He's like, holy shit, I dodged that bullet. So I don't know. Maybe he sensed it. Maybe he was onto something. Maybe he sensed it coming. He saw the wind shift. He felt it in the ground, like a Native American Indian. He felt the tremors in his feet. He had to go and he was like, fuck it, I'm going full female. I'm jumping on the side that's gonna win. So yeah, I mean, maybe he had the 411. We didn't know about it. But yeah, no, I mean, we're at a time where it's just zero tolerance. I mean, no matter where you go, it's not just Hollywood, but it's anywhere, because Hollywood is such on the forefront of media. I mean, we all watch them, so therefore that ideal filters onto us. So it's not like just Hollywood that's kind of reeling from the effects of these sexual harassment claims or these rape allegations. It's flowing to everywhere, to the common workplace, where even there is a no tolerance. I mean, you can't get away with this shit no more. It's not to say that you would have got away with it before, but nobody was speaking up on it. And I've said it before that people say, oh, Harvey Weinstein kind of kicked that off. I was like, no. I believe it was the whole Bill Cosby thing that set it off. Harvey Weinstein was basically that camel back breaking kind of thing. That's what did it. That's the point where we hit no tolerance, and now it's like a witch hunt. I mean, it's tough to be a man these days. I mean, you can't so much as fart in a woman's direction without getting hit with a sexual harassment suit. You know? As long as the fart comes off as something, other than funny, if it comes out as something sexual, then you might have a problem. But it's perfectly okay if she accepts you farting at her. She's like, fart for me, baby. No problem, I'll fart for you. Bask in the ambience. Bask in the ambience. Yeah, I mean, how do you... And then what happens is you go to war on Facebook. You go to war on Facebook or on Twitter or whatever your mode of social media is. As soon as you mention something that somebody disagrees with, it fucking goes off. I made a comment on Facebook to kind of lighten the mood, and I didn't say anything much different than what I said now. It wasn't supporting anything. It wasn't, sort of making light of the situation in the sense where it's, disrespectful to any particular person or parties. It was just making light of a situation that has really gotten full of itself. I mean, no, in no way is what's happening funny. It's not funny to the people that it happens to, the victims, if they are or if they aren't. There's people who lie, but at the same token, like you gotta know when to take a step back and say, this shit has gotten way out of control. So I made a comment, and somebody just made a comment saying, I hope somebody calls you out on your bullshit and all that stuff, and really took it there. And I'm like, slow down, relax. Like, you're getting all offended. Like, if it happened to you, that's a terrible thing to happen to you, but you got to take a fucking chill pill. I didn't say anything that said, these people deserve what they got. It was just making a light that being as a man, like, you got no wiggle room. Like I said, you fart in somebody's direction, you face the consequences. So that turned in for 3 comments on a post. That turned into like a 40-50 post debate, to put it lightly. Just people just go out of control. People are too... I don't know if people are too bored with their lives, that they feel they need to get that political. I, for one, don't give a fuck. I don't care. If it happens to somebody close to me or somebody I know, then I care because that affected me. But I don't know half of the people that happened to. I sympathize. I wish it didn't happen to them. But to have their lives consume my own when I didn't even know who they are, it's just dumb logic to me. And you know what? If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But you know what? I'm persistent and I stand my ground on my wrong. Like, the world is too big. And I said this to somebody I know who bears the world on their shoulders, and problems that have nothing to do with this person, just lets it consume. And it's insane how somebody can allow that to happen to themselves. And I have to step in and say, look, the world is way too big to be worrying about shit that has nothing to do with you. It's admirable that you care about these people. It's admirable that you care about what happens to other people who can't defend themselves. It's a very admirable trait. It's a hero trait. And there's nothing to be ashamed of or embarrassed or even feel burdened by it. But you have to take a rein. Yeah, you take reins of those emotions. Step back and just be like, yeah, you know what? There's not much I can do about this. At what point is it beyond my control? This world is big. It's smaller because we're all connected, but I'm saying like it's big. There's enough people here for somebody else to take the reins on some of it. Um, I'll help out when I can. I'm not. People may say, "Oh, you got the hero complex." I don't. I just get involved when nobody else will. You know what I'm saying? That's different. You know what I'm saying? Because if there was somebody better that to do it, I'll let them do it. But for me, I just step back. You know what I'm saying? I how do I say it? I'm having one of those tongue twisted moments. car car damn it. Car compartmentalize or compartmentalize. I don't know how the fuck to say it, but you know what the hell I mean. God damn it! Oh God, I need a dictionary. But yeah, I prioritize. I section off ideas. I section off intentions, and then I execute based on that. You know what I'm saying? It's a very logical way of thinking, but it's a way to navigate this world without losing your shit. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that, when you allow that much heaviness to consume you, that's where depression comes from. I'm gonna do a whole bit about depression. You know what I'm saying? I've gone on record to say that I've got it. You know what I'm saying? I've got a lot of issues and hang-ups and all kinds of stuff, and I'll talk about that. I'll get into that too. But let's just stay focused on the thing at hand, which is these allegations. But it just like the way you have to sort of condense your world so that you can manage it. It's the same way we have to kind of condense all the stuff that's happening with Hollywood. You got to treat it on a case by case basis, because what's happening and what I'm noticing is that it's generalizing. It's generalizing and it's sucking up anyone in proximity. So what I mean by that is that Matt Lauer, was hit with these allegations, turned out to be true, all right, and then subsequently fired. Now he's a TV personality, and others like himself will either defend him or go against it or not speak at all. One of those people who happened to open up his mouth was your man Geraldo Rivera. And what did that do? That made him a target. Because instead of like just saying, it happens, unfortunate, blah blah blah, I guess he said something to the lines of not somewhat defending Matt Lauer, and that kind of made him a target, and now something came out about him. While nobody was talking about him, he made himself a target. But if it was any other situation, nobody would have really batted an eye about it. But because we're so now in a no tolerant state, it kind of opened up the floodgates and said, "Oh, wait a minute, you want to defend him? Well, let's take a look at your past and see what you've done." And he painted a target on his back, and now apparently there was something there, and something's coming out. Now I don't know to what degree. It was just spoken that there was an issue about him that involved misconduct or harassment or whatever the case may be. The news is still very light on that, but yeah. So what I notice is that this is a very, this is not something that's localized to an individual basis. This is generalized. Now it's not proven. You're not innocent until proven guilty. You're guilty until proven innocent, and people have spoken about this happening before in our legal system, but now we're talking about just in life in general. Like now you're guilty until proven innocent. People look at you funny until there's either a reason to support their discretion towards you, or there's a sort of proof that you're innocent, and then people kind of rein it back, but they still look at you funny, and that's way worse. That's way worse, you know, because now you walk around with that stigma. You walk around with that judgment on you, even though you didn't do anything. But yeah, no, that's what's happening. It's crazy. I don't know where we go from here. You know what I'm saying? Do some of these people or all of these people find their way back to the spotlight? I mean, what do they have to do to gain the trust? You know, one of the things that you have to ask yourself is that the punishment does the punishment of blackballing these people from work justify the crime that they did, or the crime that they're accused of? Because there's laws for that. You know what I'm saying? That's why there are laws in place. They do time. If the evidence is there, they do time. If the statute of limitations passes by, then then it's up to you. But I mean, companies are completely dropping support of people. Like it's really gotten to that time because we're so saturated in that thing. I don't know what the answer is. I don't have the answers. Just have to, like I said, treat it on a case by case basis. Why would somebody get blackballed if it was maybe sexual misconduct rather than rape, or if it was sexual harassment and if it was sexual misconduct and not sexual harassment? Because there is a difference between all three. Sexual misconduct could be like he may have said something that made her feel uncomfortable. Sexual harassment means you were pushing up on her and she was saying no, no, no. And then rape is like the ultimate, like the end stop. So I mean, you got to figure this out. You know what I'm saying? You got to figure out what punishments are justifiable, because if these people not only will face legal ramifications, but their livelihoods, the things that they support their families on or themselves, is now going to be taken away from them. And that's it. It brings up some moral questions, and that's what I kind of wanted to convey. I wanted to convey that it's not black and white. There's some gray areas in there, and you have to treat it on a case by case basis, because not everybody was evil. Not everybody. People make some poor choices. You know what I'm saying? But you know how you get that thing. Oh, if he just rubbed her shoulders and made her feel uncomfortable, he's as bad as the rapist. And that it's a slippery slope. It's a slippery slope. So you have to be careful, and I hope that anyone listening, the one or two people that listen to my podcast, me being one of them, that they take the time and just use your brain, because it's so easy to get caught up in the mass. It's so easy to get caught up in a lynch mob, because it's a general acceptance. You all agree on one thing, and you crucify somebody else, or you take them down, and it's exciting, it's exhilarating, or whatever your fetish is as to joining these groups. Trust me, an individual is smart. An individual has compassion. An individual has a logic, but a group doesn't. So take that nugget of insight and formulate your judgments on that. And that's what I have to say about that. So I already went over my time limit, but I just want to say that was a good conversation. It's a one-sided conversation. I felt a little more preachy than normal, but the hell with it. And I thank you for coming in and listening to me on the one-on-one. I've been your host, Anthony Cruz. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter, not Titter. Instagram and Twitter at Tone and Stereo. Follow me on Facebook, Art Graphics Inc. And check out my website, artgraphicsinc.com. Check out The Corner. And be on the lookout for more Creators Quarter concepts. It's coming your way. Thank you again. And have a good night. And I'll see you on the next time.